So in all of our kits we use the R.A.T.S Tourniquet, and it's a, I've showed this before on videos, and I'm going to demonstrate in detail how to use it, how it works, and some of the advantages of it, and why you need to train with it, at least minimal training with it to understand how it works so you don't use it wrong, and just some observations I've had about it. But again, all these are used in every single one of our first aid kits, or our trauma kits. So it's a product that we believe in, we like, and I think that it's a pretty innovative type of tourniquet, and that's why we've used it. Practice operating this tourniquet with one hand if you can, because what you're going to want to do is there's what we call and it's noted on each tourniquet, is with this tab right here, is called the 3-finger loop. And so you basically make a 3-finger loop, and that kind of holds that position. So you don't take that off of there, you leave that on. And what you're going to be basically making is a slip knot with it, and you're going to be pulling this through. And you probably go either way, but it's probably best to go this way. But you basically pull that through and make a sort of slip knot with it. And of course that adjusts, to the size of the limb you're putting it over, and it can go down. There is evidence that these will work on animals, dogs, canines, service dogs, because they can get a lot smaller than really many or most, if not all, the tourniquets on the market. So that's kind of an advantage. Also, a small child. I know the main ones don't. The very common tourniquets on the market only go down so small, and then they don't work anymore. So that's kind of an advantage with this one. But you got to be aware that I've seen people take these and slide this back, thinking you put your arm through there or something. But you got to remember to practice, with how this thing works. So of course, if you're doing this one-handed, you'll want to know how to operate that. So I'm going to do it two-handed, and I'm going to do it around my leg, as if I had a wound there. So I would of course bring the tourniquet through, pull it all the way through the loop there, the 3-finger loop. And see, I'm going to do this slow so you can see it. So let's say the wound was up here somewhere, common spot, like we did with the emergency bandage. Then you'll want to pull this. And of course you can position it, and move it however you want. And I'm not going to pull really tight, but I'm going to put some pressure on it, just so you'll see how tight you can get it. And then I'm going to go around. Actually, I'm going to pull it a little tighter. And then I'm going to go around, and basically, if you pull it really tight, you could be able to go around twice. But I'm not going to do that. And of course, you can then adjust it to however tight you want. So I'm going to go around here like this, and then I'm going to simply lock it in. And that's it. That's the tourniquet right there. And then if you want, you can double lock it that way. And I'm not going to push it all the way in there, because it'll won't come out that easy. So fairly straightforward and fairly simple. I mean, that's very fast, and it's easy to reposition. Now, some people say, you want to pull this out straight, and that's how you store it. I personally like to get the loop started beforehand, and just, if you're, especially with an arm, you could actually just pull it on. I'll put my arm down here. You could actually just slide it over like you would anything. So if you have access, if you're working on a leg, you may want to do it this way, where you go around and then pull through. And of course, I'm going from the opposite direction this way. It doesn't matter really. So you can just, of course, that gives you leverage, and you can see how the harder I pull on that, the tighter it gets. And if I went around this, once and then pulled really tight, then I could probably get this around here again. Let's talk about setting the same tourniquet up, the R.A.T.S tourniquet up for an arm. I personally like to get the loop set ahead of time. So this is, your own, your mileage may vary, but I personally like to get the loop set up like a slip knot. I'm going to go the other way, actually. So you got your knot right there, your loop, And as long as you figure out, as long as you remember to put that loop in there, you're good. And then of course you can do the same, it's the same exact process. And I'm going to loop that back. You know, if you have your wound here, actually it'd probably be up a little higher, wouldn't it? You want to get it up as far up as you can. And I'm not going to pull this extremely tight, but you know, you just wrap this around as many times, and it's best if you have the room. If you have the room, it's best to kind of spread that area out so that it gives you, you know, an inch and a half of surface area to cut off, because it's gonna do less nerve damage. It's gonna also hurt less. Won't dig in as much, and that's the advantage with this one. So now I'm locking it in, but as you can see, it's very it's pretty straightforward. So you know, it's you can see my veins here are starting to. So it's working. It's definitely cutting off circulation. I didn't even pull it that tight. So to release it, you just unhook it from the cleat. You know, and you can readjust or let pressure. Oh man, that blood's coming back there. So it's very effective. It works really well, and it doesn't leave a lot of, you know, lasting damage. As you can see, it, you know, it'll bruise a little bit if you pull it really tight, but very effective product, and about half the weight of many of the competitors out there that you're familiar with on the market. So, you know, of course, you know, it's always good to practice. It's always good to train with one hand as well. So for one-handed use, you'd simply pull this through. You're just making a knot right there, and then you're going to do the same process, and you're going to pull it. You know, so yeah, it's always good to practice with these a few times, and that's the nice thing about these, is they're really easy to train with, and you can train with them as much as you want. You can train other people how to use them, and they're fairly straightforward and simple. It's almost anticlimactic how, you know, what it does. It's just it just works fast. So that's why it's in our kit. But like anything in there, you're responsible for your own safety on how to operate this stuff. So, you know, we always encourage people to take apart the kits to try things out themselves, and just practice with them, because, you know, it's you know, again, we've said it before in every video, we're not medical professionals, and you are responsible for your own safety when it comes to the tools. But, you know, something like this is extremely effective, and especially if you train with it and practice with it a little bit. Just do it periodically. Keep familiar with it.